Hey, here we go. Check this out.
This is Whole Nother Level with Dwayne Lindo.
You know, frankly, I feel that we shouldn't even be talking about this. Simple as that.
The great L. Bushman.
They'd have to make so many adjustments, but I don't know what they have to do. They need a miracle. They need a miracle.
Frank Mazzei.
Did they win the offseason in free agency? Yes. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Craig Cousin.
How can you not put Tom Brady number one on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks? Man, this guy's a legend. Rings speak.
And Eric Wilson.
I didn't know Eric was going to let you talk.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. I've seen enough Facebook posts to know that you're not a Giants fan. Let's go.
And to welcome everyone to another edition of Whole Nother Level right here at Co-Work, Florida. It's your man Eric Wilson, and we got a full house today. I've got the great L. Bushman, Frank Mazzei, Craig Cousin, and joining us momentarily will be Dwayne Lindo. Gentlemen, good afternoon. What's going on?
Good afternoon, and happy hungover day to you.
I'm not hungover, though.
Well, it's a national holiday.
It is.
After
it really
another
is.
National hungover holiday.
It's a national holiday after another holiday.
Very true.
National hangover day.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Frank?
Yep.
I didn't see any pictures of you at Mi Pueblo last night.
No, he checked in.
I know you
Yeah, I
checked
saw him
in,
check.
but no pictures, man. You all right? Everything good?
I'm good.
All right.
Did you dance with any senoritas?
I did not dance. I went over and looked, but that was about.
You did a little window shopping. I see.
There you go.
That was about the extent of it. Yes, it was a good time was had by pretty much everybody that was there. I think
Many, yes.
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 Including us. And we had a great time yesterday at Ferg's breaking down the Rays versus the Toronto Blue Jays game. And Great L. Bushman, you were in the press box last night. Do we want to start this show there, or you want to wait till later before I let you loosen the booth as I put on Facebook?
Let's do it later because I'll be loose in the booth.
Okay. All
I'm
right,
not as mad as I was last night.
All right. We are here at Co-Work. We're here every Saturday from noon till 1. And, again, today's show, we're going to be discussing LeBron, in my opinion, just basically toying with the Toronto Raptors. A sloppy Game 3 last night between the San Antonio Spurs and the Houston Rockets. Apparently, LeVar Ball wants to sell the American people a pair of $500 sneakers. And as we just said, I'm going to let Great L. Bushman loosen the booth about his Rays and what they didn't do or didn't get done last night. So, gentlemen, I want to start.
Are you still sick?
My nose, man. I have been congested for like 4 days. I can't get rid of it. I've tried everything. I even went out last night. Had like 4 Coronas. You thought that might have helped.
I'm telling you, Jameson.
Maybe a hot toddy?
Hot,
Something
yes.
like that? Come on.
Or some Jameson.
All right, when we leave here,
God's sakes.
I'm going to walk over to Ed's and have me a Jameson and see if that helps.
Or Tennessee honey.
Ooh, I can do that.
Chilled.
Yeah, I can do that.
I'm telling you, it'll work.
All right, we'll do that.
You know, back in the day, there was no aspirin or Tylenol. They used whiskey.
Very true.
I got something for you. It's in my car.
Okay.
I'll mix
Frank
it
to
up
the
during
rescue.
I'll mix it up during the break.
All right, fair enough. Gentlemen, I mean, I want to start the conversation and basically saying, LeBron James, last night, they're basically toying with the Raptors right now. Cleveland up 3-0, 115 over 94 last night. I mean, I don't know what else to say to you except I'm just waiting on the Washington-Boston series to end so that round can get started.
I think Cleveland's going to get that rest they're going to get like they did before. So it's
Yeah.
I think we were all talking about it before when, if they get that rest, it might not be a good thing. Yeah, it was a good thing.
Listen, if you're a Raptors fan right now, I mean, you're pretty depressed because you went out and got Serge Ibaka. Kyle Lowry was coming back from injury, so, he was starting to click again. Obviously, DeMar DeRozan there. They have the talent. They're just not putting it together. I don't know what it is. And just like you said, Eric, you started the show with it. It does seem like LeBron basically took the first half off last night, and then he comes in the second half, and he's like, okay, kick it up a notch. We're going to get this win.
Yeah, I mean, look, Toronto they remind me of the Hawks a few years ago. They're basically the same team every year. They're DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry. I mean, they've made a couple of moves, but that's as good as they're going to get, basically. I just don't see them getting over the hump. Like sometimes a team just needs maybe another year or two, and, they get a little better, a little more experience. I don't think that's happening with Toronto. I think this is basically as good as they're going to get, and they're not going to win a championship as currently constructed.
It's time to blow it up then, isn't it? I mean, at some point in time, you have to look. In Atlanta, like you said, Atlanta's the same team. And they got rid of Jeff Teague, and they're still that same team. Dennis Schroeder, they brought in, obviously, Dwight Howard. Nothing's really worked there, and you saw that last series. But, yeah, I mean, to get into this round and not even win a game, I mean, they're down 0-3 right now, and, it's looking like they're going to get swept.
Wow, and this just came in over Bleacher Report. NBA suspends the Wizards' Kelly Oubre for Game 4 versus the Celtics.
Kelly Oubre, yeah. So it's been a heated battle over there, and I'm sure we'll get to that next. But there was a pretty hard screen set by Kelly Olynyk, and then Olynyk was actually talking to the ref, and Oubre just came and he got up off the floor because he got a hard screen set on him, and basically fully extended both arms and just shoved Kelly Olynyk to the ground. He actually hit the referee a little bit in that process too, so he got ejected. But I did expect him to probably be suspended one game.
I mean, listen, last night LeBron only played 41 minutes, which I know really it seems like he played the whole game, but there were moments where I was just like, what is he doing? But still, to put up 35 and 8 last night, I mean, Kevin Love had a double-double, 16 and 13. TT had 9 and 12. Kyrie had 16 and 5. Korver looking pretty sharp last night, even though he only played 21 minutes, but 14 and 3. But it's becoming the point with me when I'm looking at this game, and I'm like, wow, Cleveland literally is just doing what we expect Golden State to do. They just score at will, and I expected this series to go a little further than already being where it is right now at 3-0. I expected at least Toronto to come out and, remember what happened to them last year, and I spoke of this last week. Toronto last year put some fire under their bellies and said, we can beat Cleveland. Took them to a Game 6 and forced LeBron to be LeBron and show why he is one of the greatest NBA players to ever play the game. It just seems like this year, like you said, Craig, they went out and they acquired more assets. But these assets are turning into liabilities. And it's causing Toronto to be like, okay, we're down. I was very surprised Drake was even still in the building. I thought he would leave after halftime.
He was getting messages from LeBron about where they're going to go afterwards. He's like, LeBron asked Drake, where we going? Margaritas on me.
I'm just saying.
Kyle Lowry should only play in the regular season. I mean, has he had a good playoff series in the last 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Even there was a stretch last year where he would play okay, and DeRozan would play okay, and then at times both of them played terrible. They both looked like they weren't even superstars, and they are actually characterized as superstars. So you need these players to step up in the postseason, especially if you're playing against a powerhouse in the Cavaliers. And at this point in time, it's just like, this series is over. They might steal one game if they have heart the next game. If not, I actually think it's going to be a sweep. I mean, 115-94 this past game. It's not even competitive at this point.
So if you're DeMar DeRozan, I mean, you did all you could last night, putting up 37 points. Is it time for you to – I don't know what his contract is, but is it time for him to just get the hell out of Toronto?
He re-upped.
He did?
Yeah, he's there for a while.
He ain't going nowhere anytime soon.
Then they better find a way to build around him, because I'm telling you right now, this guy is potentially a superstar, and he has nothing to work with.
Yeah, but if you're a free agent, I mean, is Toronto really that attractive to you? Toronto?
They got those French fries where they put the cheese on
poutines.
top.
Poutines.
Yes.
But isn't Toronto a perennial 7-8 seed when it comes to the playoffs? It seems like these guys seem to be always at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the playoffs.
Toronto?
Toronto.
No,
Ladies
Toronto.
and gentlemen, if you're wondering who that voice is, it's Dwayne Lindo. Yes, he's in the
Dwayne Lindo,
for the first time in a while.
Is
It's
in the
Dwayne
building.
Lindo.
They've been about 2 through 5 the last couple of years.
Okay, but I mean, it's funny because I never see when I think of Toronto, I don't think of a team going deep into the playoffs for whatever reason.
They're in the Eastern Conference, though, and that's why. I think if they were in the Western Conference, they may be, to your point, Dwayne, they may be a 6, 7, or 8 seed. But the fact that they're in the Eastern Conference, which is why, to what Frank was saying, they sit 2 through 5.
Yeah, and the Eastern Conference is getting better. Washington's gotten better. Boston's gotten better. Toronto actually has gotten better, and Frank just already alluded to that. The Raptors are actually a regular season team. They seem to really thrive in the regular season, but for whatever it is, they can't get past the first round. It almost mirrors something like the Clippers do in the West, the Memphis Grizzlies in the West. When you think of those teams, you're like, yeah, they're pretty good, but they're going to either win one series or they're out first round, maybe second round. And that's pretty much, my comparison if you want to look at the other conference.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of the other conference, let's go to it. This is the first time, I think, in a long time, and I'm pretty sure most of you gentlemen will agree with me. Last night's game, and Craig, you and I were watching it before we, headed out for the evening. It was a very sloppy game on both ends, on San Antonio and on Houston. And I just want to get your take, Craig. What stood out to you most when it came to
the Rockets San Antonio Spurs game?
Well, being without Tony Parker, and Patty Mills really and Simmons really took the reins in filling in for Tony Parker, and it might actually be a good thing for the Spurs because Tony Parker was not a spring chicken.
Yeah.
Okay. And Ginobili had a funny comment. He came out and said there was 3. Now he's like, now there's only 1 left of the big 3, and I'm an old one. So that's pretty funny. Ginobili's still out there playing, but listen, 39 points from Houston. A team that thrives on the offensive end. Obviously, Mike D'Antoni's system, they're run and gun. They try to get down to the floor as quick as they can, pop as many shots as they can, and then hoping they go in. And for whatever reason, they just weren't hitting last night. And Kawhi Leonard, listen, he is playing ridiculous right now. He has to be in the conversation along with, the Russell Westbrooks, the LeBron James, the Steph Currys, the Kevin Durant's is a top 5 NBA player, hands down.
26, 10, and 7 last night. I mean, again, another man on the field, on the court, putting up the numbers, putting in the work, producing when he needs to. And yes, granted, they got a win last night, but if you're Greg Popovich, and Frank, I'll go to you on this one because you seem to be one of his biggest advocates. What are you telling your team after last night's victory? Even though, I mean, in my eyes, would you really consider that a win? I mean, granted, a W is a W, but if you're Greg Pop, how do you fix those mistakes?
I mean, you're not happy about the way your team performed, but you're happy that you got the win, basically. And look, San Antonio is going to have to ugly up some games if they want to win because, Craig alluded to it, talking about it. Besides Kawhi Leonard, they've not gotten what they think they were going to get out of LaMarcus Aldridge, I think it's safe to say.
He's been very disappointing, actually. He looks really slow to me. I mean, I don't remember him looking this slow when he played for Portland. I don't.
He put up 26 and 7 last night.
I know, but last night was an aberration. He has been playing pretty bad throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, he showed up for that. I mean, look, Pop put Paul Gasol in the other game. I mean, and he hadn't started since like January. So he's had to tinker with that. But you look, they don't really have a superstar outside of Kawhi Leonard. I mean, I wouldn't call Tony Parker a superstar, not anymore, not at this age. And Pau Gasol and LaMarcus Aldridge, they're going to have to win this way because Houston's, look, say what you want about, I got a lot of criticism for Mike D'Antoni's system and no defense and everything. They do run and gun. They're fast. They're younger than San Antonio, and San Antonio's going to have to slow it down to win. I still think they beat Houston, but it may go 7 games.
Wow. I mean, right now, San Antonio up 2-1 after that ugly win last night. Trevor Ariza banging 5 for 5 at one point. I mean, this guy had the hot hand last night. So, I mean, James Harden, though, 43 points last night, and you still don't get the victory. That has to speak to you on a mental level. What do you do to – I mean, I understand one thing that I want to say to you is it bothers me sometimes because he put up 43 points last night. And I was like, wait a minute. You're running the Mike D'Antoni offense. You're running gun. You put up 43 points, and you don't get the victory.
You see this all too often, though, Eric. A lot of times when players are scoring 40, 50, 60 points, their team loses. And it brings back to the basic fundamentals of the game of basketball as a team game. And however you want to portray that, if one player is scoring 40, 50, 60 points, that player is shooting the ball a lot and touching the ball a lot. And in some instances, yes, it does work out, but I've seen more often than not, it doesn't. You'd rather have 5 or 6 players in double figures to where one person has 40, 50 points.
Well, and look, I'm sure Pop didn't say it this way, but you'll let James Harden basically get his and make somebody else try to beat you. You know James Harden is probably going to score, so if he gets his 40 and nobody else really gets very much, you're pretty much okay with that. But if they do, like, you're okay if Lou Williams goes off and you lose, or Trevor Ariza and those guys, because they're not James Harden, basically.
All right, let's take a break, gentlemen. When we come back, I want to touch on a couple more games. I want to talk about the Golden State-Utah series. And then, of course, we did touch on it slightly, so I want to get into it, the Boston-Washington series. You are listening to us on the level. We are here at Co-Work, Florida. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Holding on Level right here at Co-Work. We got the whole crew in the building. I got Craig Cousin, Frank Mazzei, the Great L. Bushman, and Dwayne Lindo joining us. Gentlemen, let's keep the show going here, and I want to move over to, as I said earlier, I want to go to the Golden State-Utah game, series, shall we say, because, that game is going on tomorrow. Golden State currently has the lead. They're up 2-0, but they're back in Utah for the next 2. Frank, let me ask you, I mean, you were
spot on when you said about Utah beating L.A. Granted, it went to a Game 7. The Clippers couldn't get up for a home game, Game 7 playoff game. So clearly that band is broken up, and I think to your credit, Doc Rivers is going to lose a few titles when it comes to what his current position is within the organization. But more importantly than that, what are you expecting from this Game 3 game with Utah against Golden State?
Not very much nightlife for the Golden State Warriors. Look, I hate to say this might be another sweep too. And I mean, Utah does play Golden State tough. I mean, it's not like they've never beaten them, but at this point, at this stage, I mean, it's almost irrelevant. I don't want to say irrelevant, but Steve Kerr doesn't need to be there for it because you just look at it from a talent standpoint. I mean, Golden State, even without Kevin Durant, is pretty much head and shoulders above Utah. I think Golden State beats them. I think the Jazz get one game in this series, and that's really that's about the most hope I could offer to them. But the difference between Utah and some of those other teams is that if they could keep their nucleus together, they're going to get better because they got a lot of young players. And if they could just, I know Gordon Hayward is going to be a free agent.
I was just about to say that. I said
they need to keep him.
Yeah, my take on this series is, Utah's biggest problem isn't trying to figure out how to beat Golden State. The series is over. Golden State's going to win in 4, maybe 5 games. The biggest thing for Utah is figuring out how they can keep Gordon Hayward. So if they can keep him, that's the biggest question mark of the offseason. He's a free agent. I know Boston's going to be in high demand for him. I've already heard. Obviously Brad Stevens coached him in college. So, if they can keep their young nucleus together, including Gobert's been playing a lot better.
Yep.
I mean, the team is probably one player away from really, really, really competing for a championship. So I think, now does someone want to go to Utah and play there? That I don't know. But I think that they have a lot of good pieces in place.
So, again, the question asked is, Utah is not a sexy place to play, so to speak. So what do you need to do to keep this nucleus together? Because, as you said, Gordon Hayward is basically people are already looking at this guy. People want this guy. They realize his potential. They realize his talent.
Mm-hmm.
They realize his productivity.
You need to go get Karl Malone. You need to go get John Stockton in the room, and tell these and show them some old film and show them some history on Utah and be like, listen, we want to get back to this, and we need you to do that. That's how you get those players to stay.
Right, and I was just going to say too before, and you just pretty much hit the nail on the head. Don't knock on Utah. I mean, obviously, Utah is not the prettiest place to play.
Well, unless you're Mormon and like the ski.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're into landscape, it's great. But the whole point is Utah has a rich history, and you just named the players. If you can get that nucleus of old players to come in and try to recruit, if you will, and bring up this young talent that they have, they can get to the next step here. And like I said, this is a team rich in history. And basically, to your guys' point, I think this series is over. But again, it's all about trying to get this young talent and getting more talent in Utah to get this team to the next level.
Well, I mean, Gordon's going to get max money probably wherever he goes.
He is 100%.
And Utah will be able to give him the most because he's already with them. But it's going to be about chances to win. I mean, Utah might have to do one other thing. Keep Gordon Hayward, like Joe Johnson. I'm sure is not going to be there. He's not part of their long-term plans, so to speak. And he is a good scorer, so they still need to tweak a little bit, but. If they could keep it together, they're in a better situation than most teams.
One name that you guys haven't mentioned, and I know he is injured with a sore toe, that's George Hill.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, could he be a key component in this new makeup of the Utah Jazz? Or is he just going to be another mediocre player who is playing and he gets his time and we don't really hear about much of him, but he has flashes here or there?
I mean, George Hill's a solid starter. He's a person that you can he can come and contribute every night, double digits if he needs to. Pretty decent defender, but he's not the answer. You're still a star away, is what you are. Even if you sign Hayward, you're still one star away. Joe Johnson is getting older. He might play maybe one more year, or I think he's like leaning towards retirement, to be honest. So I think that Utah's one player away, and I think whether it be that they hit on a draft pick or whether it be, they go out and a team sees that, hey, we signed Hayward, this is our plan in place now, that might attract a free agent that hasn't gotten over the hump. to go there. So that's what they need. They need one of the pieces to fall, and then that would allow some other ones to go.
Any name that comes to mind off top of the head?
Oh, man. Well,
just thinking. I mean, just kind of crystal balling it, maybe just looking out there and saying, hey, if Utah could get this guy.
Yeah. I look at like a Zach Randolph. Maybe if they can pry him from Memphis. I look at even the other Gasol brother over there. I think something like that is kind of like where I'm kind of leaning. I don't think like a Carmelo Anthony's a good fit there. He needs to go somewhere else. But and then again, like if they can hit on a young star, like nobody thought Porzingis was going to be good. The guy's a star. If they can get something like that in the draft, then they'll be better off.
Okay, all right. Let's go a couple more games here. Let's go to Boston. Let's talk about this Boston-Washington series because this series is getting physical, not just on the court, but, I mean, these guys are ready to do bench clearings here.
Seems like everybody in Boston wants to fight
we'll
recently.
We'll get to that. But, Boston-Washington, Celtics up 2-1. Isaiah Thomas, man, he is really putting
baby.
He is putting his stamp on taking over this team and kind of being the next role model or the next leader of this team. And Craig, I mean, this is your
think about this for a second first.
Go ahead.
Isaiah Thomas, Eric Bledsoe, DeMarcus Cousins, Hassan Whiteside, all drafted by the same team. That team is a wreck. Can you believe that? And now one of them plays there. It's nuts.
I'm looking at this and, Washington, the Wizards, they're so up and down. I can never get a full read on them.
They're a great team. They're a really good team. John Wall's playing lights out. He's playing awesome basketball. You have Bradley Beal over there playing. And then you have a scrapper like Martin Gortat. He brings rebounding, physicality.
Marcin Gortat.
Whatever. Okay. It sounds like a cheese that I'd go buy at Publix, right?
I'm just saying.
Sounds delicious. Do you have any Ritz crackers?
But he brings physicality, rebounding, and he can score. You got one of the Morris brothers there. There was a conspiracy theory out there that the one got injured and then they put the other one in for him. That was pretty funny.
Otto Porter.
Otto Porter
has actually been contributing to them.
Yeah. So they have actually a pretty young nucleus, and they're going to be a contender definitely for. I think that when I look at them and I look at Toronto, I think that they actually are a team that could get it done.
Yeah.
Whereas Toronto, you're like, no, they're really not going to get it done. This series is going to go 7. I really do believe that. Even when Boston was up 2-0, a couple of my other buddies were asking, and I was like, this series is going to go 7. I still feel it's going to go 7. The Celtics are so up and down. They can be up 20 and then lose the game. They can be down 20 and come back and win the game. I mean, they go on runs, crazy runs I've never seen before.
I mean, they do pretty well, but I mean, let's be real. I mean, you got a guy who's Isaiah Thomas, great player,
5'9", baby,
yeah, 5'8". You got to play as 5'8", 5'9". And I mean, in reality, is Boston gonna win the whole shebang? I mean, personally, I don't think so. I mean, a great team, but I don't know. But like you said, I mean, they're an up and down team. It seems
it's the race to see who gets to lose to Cleveland,
right? And we said that. I think no matter who comes out of this, I think they are just as I heard someone say, and I'm just going to repeat what they said, they are the next sacrificial lamb to the Cleveland Cavaliers, unfortunately.
I think Washington matches up better against Cleveland than Boston does. I think Boston beats Washington in this series, but I think Washington is a better matchup because they got more height, physicality. I mean, they can score, they can defend. Boston's one player away, and when your best player is 5'9", that's I mean he's gone off on some games, but then 13 points the other night. I mean I believe.
He had to get dental work at halftime.
So yeah, I mean it's just you need somebody else out there that can score. And I mean Horford is a nice piece. I love Marcus Smart and I love Avery Bradley, but they're better defenders to me than they are. It's offensive contributors.
If Boston can somehow get Gordon Hayward or Jimmy Butler to that team next season to go along with the draft pick that they're going to get in the top 3 or 4 of the draft, hoping it's number 1, and I really like Markelle Fultz out of Washington. He is a straight scorer, and I think he's going to be the best out of that draft class. LeVar Ball can talk about his son all he wants. LeVar Ball's son can't play defense, number 1, and in my opinion, we're going to get to it, but I think his ceiling is Rajon Rondo to me. And his floor, and he better hope this is not right, is probably like Anthony Bennett. because he better hope a lot of people buy those shoes now, because if he's not good, that's going to be really, really short-lived.
All right, so before we get to that, let's go around the table real quick. I want to get your gentleman's take on the Boston-Washington series. Frank, I know you already said you expect Boston to win this series. How many games?
Oh, it's just going 7.
It's going 7.
Yeah.
Craig, are you just going to be
Boston in 7?
Boston in 7?
Boston 7, yeah.
Dwayne, what do you think?
Boston in 7.
Great old Bushman?
Washington is 7. I'll be the odd man now.
No, I'm going to join you, but I'm going to say Washington in 6.
Okay.
6.
Because I feel that the fact that both these teams know Cleveland pretty much is only going to play 2 more games at most.
Cleveland's going to
You
play one more
So you
game
think
later.
Washington's just going to win the next 3 games?
I think that Washington understands what's important, and I actually personally want to see the matchup. I want to see John Wall and the Washington Wizards, versus LeBron and the Cavaliers.
I'll tell you-
I want to see that.
LeBron's
matchup.
got one more game.
But the last 2 games are in Boston, right?
Well, no, it's Washington.
One more in Washington, then the next one goes to Boston.
Then it's 1-1-1.
Yeah,
Right.
so I told you this before the series, before the playoffs even started. The fact that everybody knows Cleveland lost the last 2 games of the season purposely. They were resting players. They didn't want to face Chicago in the first round with a healthy Rajon Rondo and Dwayne Wade was coming back and things like that. If for whatever reason, and I hope it comes down to it, I don't think it will. But if Boston wins a series and Boston has that home court and it comes to a Game 7 in Boston, that would be very, very interesting to see.
Oh, listen, that's
what
that's
happened.
the-
And if for whatever reason, if Boston can come together and they could beat the Cleveland in that Game 7 and just kind of stick it to them and be like, listen, you rested the last 2 games. This could have been on your home court. I would just love that. But, I mean, let's be honest. I think it's Cleveland and I think it's Golden State. And I think, everybody knew that preseason. I mean, if you could say fortunately or unfortunately, whichever way you look at that. Do you agree, Dwayne?
Yeah, I mean, what is this, the third year in a row? You're talking to Cleveland, Golden State, but I don't see any other teams going into the final if that's what you're asking me, to be honest with you. I don't. I really don't.
Look, I mean, I'll give Washington credit, too. The move they made, was it Radmanovic, the center?
The center, yeah.
I think that was a good acquisition for them as well. So, but, yeah, it's Golden State, Cleveland in the finals.
I mean, and we've all said that. So, all right, well, let's move on to what the world is talking about, and we might as well just give our thought and opinion and chime in. So, $500 pair of sneakers, $495.
Don't give them the extra $5.
Sorry, $495
It's coming over that with taxes.
for a pair of
Terrible looking shoes.
Big Baller brand sneakers.
If you're not a big baller, then you don't got them sneakers.
I'm fine. I'm not a big baller.
Listen, I have never considered myself to be a big baller. I have no intention of paying $495.
First of all, he stole the look from Kobe's shoes.
They look exactly like Kobe's. Yep.
Exactly to a T like Kobe's shoes.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, look at them.
They're actually decent-looking shoes. I kind of like them.
No, they are.
I would never buy them because I'm not spending $500 on a pair of shoes.
I look at these shoes and I say, Payless Shoe Store knockoff brands.
You could literally buy a pair of Jordans and a pair of LeBrons and still come out the door with 2 pairs of shoes and $50 in your pocket and buy one of these pairs of shoes.
Well, the shoes I have on is $40. I don't think they was compare. I don't know. But Michael Bennett for Seattle, he said he loves the shoes. I mean, Eric, you said they were ugly, or maybe Evan, you said they were ugly, but he loves them. He thinks they're off the chain.
There you go. So you already.
I mean,
you
for $500,
you got
they
the
better
first
be,
domino
but,
to fall already.
They really look cheaply made, though. And they stole so many logos from other things. Okay, this is Big Black from Robin Big. It's just the bees are facing the right way. This is a superhero emblem, I think, for Shazam.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
And then...
For those of you that don't know, we are actually looking at the shoe right now on the screen in front of us.
And it looks like Kobe's shoe. Exactly like it. Just without the Nike swoosh.
In the
How do you... look. There's $3 million in sales in the first
3 days?
3 days? So $1 million a day.
Who's making these shoes?
But here's the point.
Sweatshop in Asia.
Here's the point. The point is, there are people
I
out
tweeted
there
that out and
that's
got
buying
so many
them.
likes.
$10 to make, I'm
so
sure.
what do you? I mean, with all the knocks you're putting down right now, not that I like them, but with you knocking it right now, what do you attribute all these sales to? If the shoe's ugly. So
Listen, it's and you already just named it. You said Michael Bennett already likes them. So that's already one domino to fall. All it's going to take, and I mentioned this before we got on the air today, is for a couple of stars to start wearing them around, and the paparazzi's going to take the pictures, whether it's Jay-Z, whether it's Cam Newton, whether it's whoever else, and then somebody's going to be like, wow, they got those shoes. I want them. That's all it's going to take. And the thing about it is they want to sell as much as they can now, too, because they don't know if the Sun is going to be good or not,
And
or
that's the whole
all
point.
three of them. You have no clue.
And that's the big point.
This apparently was the prototype for Nike. It's right here.
It's
Wow.
great. I mean,
It
but,
does.
But if you're
It looks
if
so
you're
much
LeVar
like
and
it.
everybody's we're talking about it right now. We're feeding into it. ESPN's feeding into it. Fox Sports had him on. So everybody is feeding in and giving him the market that he wanted. So that's why they're selling.
Well, here's the deal with this. Okay, he hasn't been drafted yet. This kid could be a flash in the pan and be gone, and we're not even going to be talking about it next year, anyways. I mean, his dad's more of a 15 minutes of fame guy, and then
But he's got 2 more sons after Lonzo.
That's the
Well,
bad part.
Lonzo's supposed to be the best one of
He is.
the group. So nobody has really talked about his other ones as being superstars.
Well, they're
so to
still in
speak.
high school, aren't they?
Yeah, well, didn't one of them score 100 points or something like that?
One's going to
I'm serious. They did.
one's going to UCLA, so there'll be one in high school and one in college again. But Lonzo's supposed to be the most talented. But look, if Lonzo comes out and he can play, I mean, LeVar ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, and there's a good chance that he may be picked up. I mean, the Lakers may draft him.
I think the
Apparently.
Lakers are. I think we've said this. I think the Lakers are the only team that is going to draft him. I don't think any other team.
Listen, he's going to go in the top 3.
Right.
So
But I don't
whether it's the
think-
Lakers or somebody else, he's going.
I don't think any other team wants him. They don't want that media nightmare that is LeVar Ball.
But they'll draft him.
Oh, yeah, they
They-
will.
Okay, so the reason why he priced it $495 was that's what I figured the shoe was worth. That's it.
There you go.
I like the way it sounds. You see, when you are your own money, your own owner, you can come up with any price you want.
Let's say you got 3 sons at $100 a piece. That's $300, and then another normal like Jordan would be about $195. So there you go, $495 out the door.
Here's my problem with this shoe. My problem with this shoe is, I'm all for marketing your brand. Listen, we do it every day here on Whole Nother Level. We market who we are.
We're
But I
not
think-
charging $495.
Hold on,
for an
let me
appearance.
finish.
I mean,
but
we
I
should,
think,
but
I think there's a line. I think there's a line where you're trying to cater to a particular demographic, and unfortunately, that demographic is urban city youth. They can't afford $500 sneakers,
And they will buy them.
and they will find a way, beg, barter, and steal, to get these shoes because everybody wants to have the newest, the hottest, the latest, the greatest.
Yep.
The problem that exists with this, and it's not even an obstacle, it's a flat-out problem, is there's too much hatred going on in this world right now, and I hate to get political, but that's just the way it is. Someone sees somebody else wearing a pair of Big Baller Brand shoes, and you know how much they're worth.
Yeah, they're going to get shot, stabbed,
They're gonna. I mean,
robbed.
it's going to be.
Yeah.
House is going to get broken into. People are going to get beat up for your $495 shoes.
I'd say you buy them and then bronze them.
Put
Put them on a mantle.
Right. So then what's the point of buying them?
Exactly.
You do that with baby shoes. You don't do that with no damn LeVar Ball.
I'm sure
Big
there's
Baller
LeVar
Brand.
Ball baby shoes out there.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing, too. You know
could
there's
be a
people
little
out there that
baller.
are buying
Yes.
them because they're going to use it. They're buying it for a collector's item. So there's folks out there that are buying them and not going to wear them.
Eric, you don't
so
know.
that's a given.
Do you know about the subculture of shoes?
The subculture.
There's a whole subculture of shoe collectors.
Please educate me.
Okay, so, and Craig, you know about this.
I do.
They're all over eBay. They're all over Craigslist. No, this is serious.
Like
this
Imelda
is
Marcos or something.
this is for real. This is okay. So these are shoe collectors that go out and find these premium shoes, collectible shoes, and they go out, which are like limited brands. They go out, buy a ton of shoes, and then they go sell them on eBay and Craigslist. So and people will pay double the amount than what they originally paid for.
So
they're not going out to wear.
Right.
They're going out to resell them.
So you're going to go out and buy a pair of non-autographed shoes for an autographed price, basically, is what you're saying.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
seriously,
Exactly.
Once these
And
sell out, and people pay $1,000, $1,500 for these.
Exactly.
They really will.
There's a subculture of shoe buyers that just go out and then they
And some of the shoes are, so say when Durant comes out with his brand, his line, or LeBron comes out with their line, there's a lot of special edition shoes that
Yeah.
only make like 100 of these things, and people will buy them and resell them for 3, 4, 5, 6 times the value which they paid for them, and they're collector's items.
Yep. Trust me, you will not see anybody wearing these. If somebody's wearing these, they're going to be punched in the face, and then they'll get stolen.
I mean, but that's
Nobody's wearing. I guarantee you, nobody's wearing these shoes.
Unless like guys like Michael Bennett and athletes and Jay-Z.
An athlete's going to wear it. Nobody that's not a big baller is going to wear these shoes.
Well, and he's not trying to sell to us.
Right.
Like we're not here. He's trying to sell to athletes and NBA guys and stars.
What are you trying to say,
and-
Frank? You don't have a jump shot?
I'm trying to say I'm not a big baller because, and even if I was, I wouldn't buy the shoes.
Well, look, if you're Lonzo Ball and his dad, I mean, obviously the point is to make money. Lonzo's dad is kind of, let everyone know that that's the point. You know, they deserve all the money his sons can get. Blah blah blah. But I don't know if he really cares about the kids, like Eric alluded to, the urban kids. I don't know if he really cares about them, but possibly a cheaper shoe, maybe that's out of the question.
If he cared, he wouldn't have put the retail price.
Right. Yeah, and I to be honest with you, I don't think he does personally. I mean, I don't know the kid obviously, but
you're marketing towards the entertainers, the athletes who can buy these and help you sell your brands by wearing them out.
Yeah,
from TMZ and Twitter to Snap.
See, here's my problem with that. You know what? It starts where you came from. Now, I don't know their back history. For all I know, LeVar Ball could have grown up in, urban. He could have grown up in the ghetto. He could have grown up in a pristine White House with a white picket fence. I don't know his background. But my point is, when you cater to a particular demographic, which if I'm looking at LeVar Ball and I'm looking at his family, I'm looking at a bunch of inner city kids whose father decided that he was going to make them something. They weren't going to be a bunch of knuckleheads out in the street. So he's building his brand. And I've always said this. I have no problem with him sticking up and doing what he's doing and promoting himself and promoting his family. You know what? At the end of the day, get yours. But I feel that there comes a point in time where you got to give back to those who helped you along the way, or give back to the community that supported you, or give back to just those who are less fortunate, who can see that, you know what, you can rise above what is going on in this world today. That's where I have a problem with. Now, granted, if he did not come from that, then you know what? You going to do you, that's fine. I'm not going to support you, but I can respect what you're doing. But if you did come from that, then you got to find a way to give back. That's just me. I'm old school. Say what you want.
I say we come out with an HNL3 loafer and sell it for $19.95.
I would love to.
Be like Stephon Marbury. He has his own shoe, and he sells
Starberries
at a low price, and they sell like a ton over in Europe and China, and I mean, look, he's making money.
Listen,
you know
I'm down.
Needs to come back? Moccasins.
Is he still playing in China?
Whole nother level moccasins.
Stephon Marbury?
Yeah, he's still playing.
Yeah.
Listen, if we can get some whole nother level clogs, you know what? Let's do it. But I'm saying to you is,
make them sheepskin.
if you came from that environment, that urban environment, that, as they call it, the projects or the ghetto or whatever you want to call it, you got to remember where you came from. And again, this is me. But if you didn't, and this is how you want to move forward, and you want your 15 minutes, and we've spent 15 minutes talking about this, dude.
That's 15 minutes too long.
I'm just saying, we are not big ballers, but we are going to take it to a whole nother level because that's just what we do. With that, let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to let the great Al Bushman, I'm going to let him loose talking about his Rays and what they could have, should have, would have done last night against the Blue Jays. You are listening to us. Always remember, you can check us out on our website, www.hnl3.com. And I forgot to mention the number, 813-699-5353 is the number to call in these last 20 minutes. We'll be right back.
Yeah, welcome back to Whole Nother Level here live at Cowork Lakewood Ranch, Florida studios. This is Al Bushman coming back in. So before we went into break, Eric did say we were going to let me loose. I thought he was going to kind of intro me into that since I was in the press box. And
you're the man. You can intro yourself.
No, you just go right into it.
No. Let me do it. Let me do this. I like doing this part. Ladies
he really
and gentlemen,
does like doing it.
I do. Ladies and gentlemen,
man.
The great Al Bushman last night had the honor and the privilege of being in the press box to watch his Tampa Bay Rays go up against the Toronto Blue Jays, and unfortunately, the Rays were unsuccessful last night in getting the job done. So, great Al Bushman.
Yes.
Let me let you loose because I want to know what you saw last night. And more importantly, I got to hear this rant, my brother.
It's not going to be much of a rant because I'm not as mad as I was last.
He was mad last night.
I was mad last
night.
So
I was checking Twitter, and it was like rapid fire. Al Bushman, one after another.
I was
blowing up the bullpen.
I was in rare form last night, and I hadn't been drinking.
Wow.
So, because I was still in the box doing my wrap up, which will be up today,
and they fall below 500 for the first time this season, right?
They've been below 500 for a couple
really?
times,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So they were at 15-15 yesterday. They're 15-16,
all right.
but they had Archer on the mound last night. They looked great. I mean, he looked fantastic through the first 6 innings. I mean, he had one little hiccup in the 5th, and then gave up a run, which was okay, but. They got that run back, and then in the 7th, just the wheels came off. And I can understand, okay, he was locked in, and then all of a sudden he gave up the 2-run shot to Morales, and then they tied up the game. and then he's done for the game. Okay, he pitched great. Besides that, he pitched great. He looked. And Eric, I was about to send you out a tweet that said, before he gave up the homer to Morales, I was like, now can you agree with me that Archer is a clear number one? Because he had 11 strikeouts. He only gave up 1 hit, only walked 1. I was about to send that off, and then he gave up the 2-run shot. I'm like, motherfucker. So, and the one thing that frustrates me the most, and we've talked about this, Eric, we've all talked about this, is bullpen. And I was so heated because you got nobody else in your farm system, nobody else that you can bring up and do a fire sale or shake up in your system. That tells me there's something wrong with upper management and what's going on in the background, because you got guys like Jumbo Diaz and I think it was Roger Mooney that said it best. It was a jumbo-sized disaster last night because he gave up a 3-run shot to Morales, and then just the wheels came off after that. Nobody could get an out with the bullpen. And your defense was looking shoddy again last night. One went right by Evan Longoria, which he could have gotten. It just, after that 3-run shot given up by Diaz, it was so eerie because it became so quiet in the Trop.
Yeah, and you actually had messaged me, and you're like, hey, I think we hit the nail on the head in the pregame.
There was a pitcher's duel going on.
Pitcher's duel at the end of the 4th. It was 0-0, and then
Lariano, he was out, and then I was like, okay, we're up 3-0. It was rolling, but it just, after that happened, you could have heard a pin drop. It was so quiet. I don't have any more excuses anymore. If you're Kevin Cash, if you're upper management, do something about it now. Because if you're going to try and compete in the AL East, you can't do it this way.
Yeah. You cannot blow leads like you had. You have to take advantage of it when it's sitting there in front of you to take advantage of it.
Now, I understand. They tied it up when Archer gave it the first home run, but then they got the run back, and it was 4-3 going into the 8th. You got to preserve that. I thought the game was in the bag. I had my write-up ready to go because that's what I did last time when they were playing Houston. I'm like, I've got my write-up already done. It's the bottom of the 8th. I'm good to go. And then I'm like, I have
gave up 5 runs in the 8th.
I had to delete everything. I'm like, I'm so pissed off right now. I'm just going to be on Twitter all night ranting. And I hadn't been drinking. And I never do that.
I know.
What, never not drink or never?
Never not drink and rant on Twitter. So, yeah, something has to be done now. And I put this in one of my Twitter feeds. You can't compete in that division when everything is so tight. We talked about that on the show.
We did.
Before the game. With being so tight with those 4 teams. And even now, Toronto's creeping up. You have to do something.
Right.
They have to do something.
Yeah, we also touched on the opposite side. Like you just said, Toronto's finally starting to put it together, and they're getting Josh Donaldson back too. So, I mean, this division's going to be really, really, really competitive. And, it's unfortunate that the Rays blew that lead last night.
Terrible.
I mean, especially against a Toronto, because Toronto's the team you want to beat day in and day out. So,
but they're getting better.
It's frustrating for the Rays.
They're getting better, and we said this, when Donaldson comes back, they're probably going to be not in the cellar anymore.
Toronto dug themselves a hole to start this season off.
And they're starting to claw their way back.
And they're finding a way to be like a crab in a bucket. They will crawl over whoever they've got to get back into contention. I said this yesterday. I said, come the All-Star break, whichever team is on top, after the All-Star break, that's when they finally turn that motor on and shift it in the 2nd, 3rd, and even 4th gear. So I completely agree with you. The Rays need to handle this now.
I got so many new followers on Twitter last night because of rants.
I'm telling you.
I had likes and retweets.
Nice.
I was like, wow. If I'm more pissed off all the time, I'll get more followers.
That's awesome.
But, the thing is, Toronto's 9 games out. I believe the Rays are like 5 or 6 games out. But, Craig, to your point, I think this particular division – It could
be anybody.
All-Star break. It could be.
It really can. And I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the show. We literally touched on all those. We broke down a lot of the teams yesterday, and I was one of the ones that said, like, I'm very, very surprised that the Yankees are doing as good as they're doing, and I know that's your team. And we had talked about it like they had a lot of young talent in one of our pregame shows that we did about the East, but they're playing really, really good baseball right now. And I don't think personally they can sustain it because I think they're overachieving. But even if it does come down a little bit, they're going to all be clustered. Exactly. And I know you have a big smile on your face because from a Boston fan, I don't think they're gonna.
No. It's funny because I had this same conversation with someone the other day, a Yankees fan. We're both Yankees fans. We discuss Yankees all the time, and we said, look, if we can keep this up for another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because again, it's a lot of young talent. It's vibrant right now. The lineup is stacked. I mean, actually, the Yankees are undefeated when Judge hits a home run. Aaron Judge hits a home run. So
Dude's
Judge is on fire.
beast.
Yeah, a lot of that. But look,
And you're getting
the whole
Gary
point
Sanchez
is keeping
back,
it
right?
up.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can keep that up. But I think, anything can happen.
Did you see
And
the game
again, with
yesterday
the
when they
talent
came back?
within the East? It's
The comeback victory they had against the Cubs yesterday
yeah.
has been something they've been doing all season long.
Right.
Coming back from being down 3-1 or 9-1. I mean, they did it last.
The Cardiac Kids.
yeah. I mean,
crazy.
There was a game against, I believe it was, and I totally
It was a game
forgot.
against Baltimore. They were down
Baltimore. Thank you.
9-1, and
Thank
they came
you.
back
Yes,
and won
yeah.
in extras.
14-13.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yep, and then the game between the Yankees-Cubs game last night, that was ridiculous.
Good game, and I said this before. I said this yesterday. They're doing it. Cashman and the Steinbrenners actually agreed on. Okay, they actually agreed on something. Instead of going out and getting big name players like we used to, we need to get farm players and bring those guys up and develop them like we used to do.
And look, the Yankees have one of the best farm teams. The Yankees
They do.
and the Braves.
They-
the National League, the Braves, American League, the Yankees. Those are the two best farm teams.
The trade they did last year with the Cubs by sending Chapman over to the Cubs and getting all those prospects back, and then getting Chapman back was insane because now you have all those great prospects and you have Chapman back on your team now as your closer.
Yeah.
Mariano
I hate the Yankees.
Second best record in all of MLB right now, behind the Washington Nationals.
Right,
So
right.
they're playing really, really good baseball. See if they can sustain it, though, because this is going to come down to,
And that's a big key.
it's going to be a cluster, in my opinion, especially around the All-Star break.
All right, gentlemen, so we've got a few minutes left. It is today the 143rd run of the Kentucky Derby.
Kentucky Derby.
So we've got a lot of the odds today. So if you haven't posted your bet yet, you still have till about 6:35 later this afternoon, and then the race starts at 6:46. So
You guys have your crazy hats ready?
I still have my sombrero. From,
You're going to wear your
from last
sombrero?
night.
You
I
might as well, because you didn't wear it yesterday.
I didn't wear it yesterday, so I
Yeah.
still have my sombrero. So here's a few of the odds. We've got looking at Lee at 20-1. We got a bunch of 20-1s, but if you're really looking to make some money, you go after the big ones. So Fast and Accurate is a 50-1 odd.
So, 50-1 now, you need a couple horses to kind of stumble in front of you, break a leg or two, and then you come to the finish line.
The real clear favorites right now, and that was a funny joke.
I know. I don't want any horses breaking
That's
legs.
Always Dreaming is 5-1. Classic Empire is 4-1. McCracken 5-1, and then we got Irish War Cry.
I think Irish War Cry is going to take it. That's my pick to win it. So, obviously only 6-1 odds there. So, really, really good odds in that favor. So, yeah, you'll make a little bit of money, but, obviously you'd make a lot more if you took a 20-1 or 50-1 dog.
I would say go with your 50-1.
Why not?
Yeah, you would win a ton of money.
Right.
All right, so you're doing. Who did you say?
I got Irish War Cry taking it.
Frank,
McCracken.
you got McCracken at 4-1, 5-1, 5-1
Yes.
for McCracken.
I'm
Dwayne,
gonna say always.
okay,
dreaming.
sorry.
I'm gonna say always
Who's-
dreaming. at
Wait a minute.
5-1.
Who's 50-1?
50-1 is Fast and Accurate,
Well, why
and then
not
we
him?
got.
I'm not a big horse racing guy, but yeah, like Fast and Accurate.
There's another.
Doesn't
50,
that
well,
sound like the horse that would win? Fast and Accurate.
well, there's another. There's another one that's 50-1. It's I think it's Sonatier, Sontier.
No, you can't even pronounce that name.
Sontier.
He ain't
I'll
gonna
take
win.
Fast and Accurate.
So he's a 50-1 too. So
I'm using middle of the road here. I'm going to take State of Honor at 30-1.
okay.
Okay. So we all have our horses.
We'll see what happens.
Let's all put $1 on it. Somebody gets $5. If none of the horses that we said win, then nobody gets
we'll
anything.
roll it over to the Belmont.
There you go. Yeah, we'll roll it over. I like it.
This coverage starts at 2:30 today on, I believe it's NBC.
NBC Sports, yeah. They'll be out there all day drinking their mint juleps.
How
Yeah,
how
mint juleps.
you're starting coverage at 2:30? You can really talk about horses for 4
Well,
hours.
they have other races that are not the main event, so they're
it's
racing.
like-
Yeah, they're racing all
So
day.
it's like UFC. They got the prelims. And
exactly,
Then
exactly. Yeah,
That's too much time to talk about horses.
there's a lot of drinking and eating, and
Horses don't have personality.
there's a lot of big ballers there.
Oh, dude, if they came out with a big baller like horse, oh god,
Big baller horse,
oh god,
No.
big baller fedora. Whatever you got to do.
somebody would wear that.
They would.
$4.95.
Gentlemen, anything last minute before we ride out of here today? This has been an awesome show. Thank you for
You know, you need to
being
plug
here.
that for next week.
Plug what? Oh, next Saturday. Yes, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
What is the
Eric's
matter
drinking
with
some hot tea over there because his throat hurts. He's already sleeping.
Did you put a? Did you make him a hot toddy?
I did not. There's no tea in there.
Oh, okay.
Anyhow, next Saturday, home now level, we are going to be at the Lakewood Ranch Outdoor Academy ODA for the Celebrity Flag Football Tournament. And we're going to be out there all day. We're going to do a live broadcast from there. We've got a lot of interviews lined up. Big shout out to Rod Miller of GLA Athletics for letting us come out there and do this. It is going to be a great night. One thing I did want to touch on, UFC 211 is a big card coming up this Saturday, and hopefully we can get Frank and our man Zach Davis in the booth here to give us a rundown so we can put that up there for you as well. But make sure y'all come check us out if you get the opportunity. Celebrity Flag Football, Lakewood Ranch, Out of Door Academy. The flyer's up on our website, www.hnl3.com. Also all over all of our Facebook pages and the Hold On Level Facebook page, our Twitter page as well. Gentlemen, again, this has been an awesome show.
And I'm also going to do a quick plug for our own listeners right now. You know, we point the best sports show in Sarasota. That's gone. Best sports show in Florida. You know why? Because we're taking it to a whole nother level.
With that is Craig Cousins, Frank Mazzei, the Great Al Bushman, Dwayne Lindell. This is your man, Eric Wilson. Until next time, we've taken you to a whole nother level. We'll see you.
Chief, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.